Now, let's move on to topic number 2. All right, Ron, let me give you the mini scoop. We're talking about the U.S. women's national team and their lawsuit for equal pay that was just denied. Now, before we get into the conversation, and let me tell you, sir, do I have thoughts? So
I know
many
you do.
thoughts.
I know you do.
Oh, my goodness.
I can't wait to hear.
Oh, my
I
God.
can't wait to hear this.
Yes.
I'm locked in.
Okay, well, here we go.
Here we go.
So, recently, and this was just or earlier this month in May, there was a decision by a U.S. District Court for the Central District of California in Pasadena, and it was on Friday, early May, on a Friday. The judge ended up. Now, this is very important terms here. Well, let me take a step back before I pose the question.
Take your
First
time.
things first, Ron, is the U.S. women's national team has basically said that they would like back pay and compensation in terms of equitable pay for games played prior and for their results because they were not receiving equal pay to the U.S. men's national team. So they're claiming gender discrimination by the USSF, that's the U.S. Soccer Federation, saying that they are not paying them equally due to performance and revenue generated.
Okay.
And so they're asking for back pay for years prior and games prior from the past 4 years. And that was the main feasibility of their argument. Now, they also were saying that they weren't treated equally in terms of travel, medical staff, or training equipment either. But the big thing is, of course, the equal pay, and the reason why it's equal, the big thing is equal. I mean, that's really the standard bearer issue is equal pay. The other things are nice that they, like add-on stuff, like, yes, we're not treated equally in these places either. But there's obviously been a big argument and big conversation in this country and the Western world in general about equal pay for women. And although we're not going to get into that major topic tonight, we're just going to stick
we'll have enough time.
We'll tackle that another issue. The big thing here is that the judge has ruled in favor of the USSF in terms of the pay portion.
Right.
But he did say that they do have claims and an argument to go to trial for unequal treatment in terms of travel, medical staff, and training equipment, just not the pay portion. So, knowing all that information, and we'll get into a little bit more of the stats here, but my question to you is, did the judge make a mistake, and should the U.S. women's national team get paid equally like the U.S. men's national team?
Okay, this is one, I am not an expert or have all of the information that I would need to make this decision. But I'm going to kind of talk my way into my answer first. I've thought about this. Of course, I'm thinking, people should get, men and women should get equal pay.
I think we can, at the top of this, just agree. If a woman and a man do the same job with the same tasks, the same job descriptions, etc., should get the same base salary or same payment, for sure.
Okay, I agree with that.
We agree with that? Okay.
Yes,
all right.
Absolutely. Thank you. That's perfect. So I was thinking about it like this. I was thinking about the NBA, for instance. All right, NBA versus WNBA. There's definitely a difference in pay. Of course, the NBA has been around longer. These guys have, sponsorships. They built the league up. So, of course, they have TV deals, all types of different companies endorsements, so on and so forth. The WNBA is growing, and they are definitely, matter of fact, their CBA, I believe this a couple of months ago, actually made some adjustments to their pay. I think women are now getting maternity leave. They weren't being paid for that. The women were basically having babies and coming back hooping. So they're not making as much as the men, which I don't think that they should, just because their league hasn't been around long enough. There's still a ways to go, but they are getting more pay. So I guess to answer that question, I don't know if they should be paid equally. I was kind of like reading and learning about how the guys get paid. You know, they make certain appearances in different tournaments and things like that. But the women have won what they've got two national correct me.
They won a bunch of World Cups. They've won a couple Olympics.
Right.
I mean,
and then they win two. Then they just win like what they have like.
Yeah,
two
they just won the World Cup. Yeah. I mean, yeah. So you're right. So here's the thing. Here's something that you can also comment on, because as we agreed at the top, man, woman have the same job, do the same tasks, everything. Obviously, you should get equal pay. It's different in entertainment, though.
True.
Entertainment's different because it's all based on the results you bring in. Like, if a female comic draws a larger crowd, she should get more than a male comic who can't draw as much of a crowd. And that happens. But then, you know, I can't remember who the comedian was, but there was a female comedian who was complaining she wasn't getting paid enough. And it was like, well. Monique. Yes, thank you. It was Monique. And it's like, well, yeah, but you don't draw as big a crowd as like a Cat Williams or a Kevin Hart. So you get paid what you're still getting paid a lot of money. Like, chill. Like, relax.
Hey, but if you break it down like that, because I know that's how Netflix do it. Netflix is like, yo, show me what you've done and we'll pay you.
Right.
You know, show me what you're worth and I'll pay you. So if that's the case, well, I think the women got a pretty good argument right now. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
First time men's got eliminated since '86.
Yes.
So give them some more coin. Here's my thing. There's a soccer player. I don't have her name right now. But she made a point. She was saying that she paid more money in child support last year than she actually got paid as far as being on a team. So she was saying this is not a hobby. She said some women, like their parents, have to help them with their children. And the men, her ex-husband or husband, whatever, he's making like 1 point something million. I don't know if they're together anymore, but with the whole child support thing, so I was kind of confused by trying to understand what was going on. But she made a point, like, he's making this. She's obviously not making nowhere near that. She's got a gold medal, and she's still broke. So I think they do need some more money.
Yeah,
I just don't know how much.
I do agree that they need more money. That I will also, I think,
that's what I'm saying.
I will agree.
They need more money.
They definitely need more money. Okay, so here's my thought. Obviously, being a huge soccer fan, this is a big
this is your thing. That's why I'm really kind of tiptoeing all of this.
No, but you made a lot of good points. But here's my whole thing with this. Number one is that, I'm going to start with the actual pay issue. The women's team and the men's national team bargained through their, I don't know if it's a union, but through they bargained different deals. The women they wanted a base salary, so they get $75,000 a year. They do get maternity leave pay and a bunch of other things where there was more security. They just wanted more security. The men have no security. So it's like you and I are sales guys, or we're former sales guys. So it's like a sales job. Full commission sales job or salary job. You get less commission if you take the salary. If you're full commission, you can make a lot more money because it's all commission. Same concept. Women went for that. They want back pay because they've been successful. It's like, that's why the judge ruled the way he did, because it's like, look, you made this deal. It's like, remember when I sent you the thing about the Call Her Daddy girls? They're stuck in a 3-year agreement. The women can renegotiate when their contract comes up. But they're stuck, and it's like, sorry, you negotiated a bad deal, and now you're so successful, and you're like, we should get more money. Also, they have gotten paid a lot more money. They actually made more money than the men. And some of the major female soccer stars got paid like $1.2 million, and some of the top male stars only got $1 million. Here's the big issue, Ron, is that women's soccer is not as big as men's soccer. For the World Cup, they brought in like $6 billion for FIFA. The women's only made like, it wasn't even $1 billion, I don't think. It was way substantially lower.
It wasn't even $1 billion?
It wasn't even $1 billion. I think it was ridiculous. In terms of viewership.
I know. This is soccer we're talking about.
And it's like, the men's World Cup saw like 3 billion, 4 billion viewers just for the World Cup final. I mean, the women's not generating as much money. So that's where a lot of those proceeds are going, number one. Now, if we're just talking about U.S. women's national team versus men's national team, yes, the men's national team, you sent me a text that they are hot garbage. They are hot garbage. They lost to Trinidad and Tobago to not qualify for the fucking World Cup.
I don't even know soccer. I know that's bad.
It's bad, dude. We can't beat,
Right.
First of all, the rest of the world that's their sport is soccer for the most part. U.S. we have all the other sports. It's not as big. It's not as popular. So even though our athletes are really good, technically wise, they're not as good. But even in women's basketball, the women's soccer players are technically very, very good.
Okay.
But in terms of the actual compensation, the reason why they got paid more is because they played more games than the men. The men didn't go to the World Cup, so the men would have gotten paid more if they had played more games. But again, they're getting paid. Also, men don't stay on the men's soccer team very long. You have to be the best in the U.S. men's soccer team to stay on the team. It's a lot more turnover. If you're very good at female soccer, you're on the team usually a lot longer. Now, don't quote me on that, but that's a general thought there. So, women are getting the security of the base pay and all these other things the men aren't getting. The men are basically on like straight commission, so they're getting paid more per game. It's just
I didn't know that. I think
one thing.
That's a good point. That's a good point. So basically, I guess to the ladies, they got to do better with their negotiating for their their CBA. So they did get something. I mean, they got the travel, the training facility, and also the medical. They got something. But yeah, if that's the case, if they negotiated that deal, then they got to go back to their CBA and negotiate a better deal.
And women typically are bad at negotiating for higher salaries in all fields. That's an actual thing. And there are coaches for women to help them negotiate and like ask for raises and stuff. They're going to get a raise. Like particularly after the lawsuit, they're going to get a good deal negotiated. I mean, U.S. Soccer has basically said we're open to that conversation. But, you can't just go sue and say, well, now that we've been super successful, now we want all this extra money.
I agree. I totally agree. I mean, in one regard, yeah, you're right. It is entertainment. But I guess the only difference is, they're representing the country, so. True,
yeah, you got to be patriotic. But
yeah, so that's kind of where it's like, all right, they don't have to get the same exact pay, but they should they should definitely get more. They're playing very well. And
they are. Dude,
they're
okay,
very well.
Here's the other thing. The rest of the world does not give shit about women's soccer. No other countries, even though the women have a claim about not getting as good as the men, compared to other women's countries, they don't get any funding at all. That's why they beat everybody, because we actually give a shit enough that they get all the stuff they need. But here's the other thing I want to mention to get on this show. Women's soccer is not the same game as men's soccer. Dude, the U.S. women's national team lost to a U15. That means 14-year-old boys, 14 and 15-year-old boys. They lost to a U15 boys team from Dallas. The women, the national team. And it just goes to show that women don't have the size and strength even as teenage boys in some cases.
Right.
Not skill-wise. Skill-wise.
No, yeah. I mean, that's a fact. Yeah.
But, it's just not the same game. That's why not as many people are watching it, because the men's game is just more physical. It's exciting. Not to say the women's game isn't exciting, but it's exciting in a different way. But I don't watch the U.S. women's national team because I just expect them to win. U.S. men's national team, I watch them because I'm like, are they going to win?
They might not win.
It's like
oh, man, they got to win.
Different. Yeah, like if the U.S. women's national team loses, it's like bad because they have the top stuff, and if they lose, it's a bigger deal than if the men's team loses, because the men's team winning something is big because no one ever expects the U.S. men's national team to ever win.
Hey, Jay, I got FIFA. I ain't playing with the U.S.
I wouldn't say that either, and that is where we will have to leave it for this segment.